All right. What's good all day, fam? I was supposed to have been on last night, but I didn't come on last night. I was just so frustrated. I still should have came on though, but it's whatever. I didn't come on. But yeah, I did want to make an effort to keep coming on at least after every prime time game. I've been thinking about coming on. To be honest, seeing how I can create a schedule, a system for me to be on here every night, at least for like, 1 hour every night. Just go over news, let's go over NFL news, football news, whatever. But I'm here now. And so y'all know what I'm here for. Y'all know what the deal is. And it's it's distasteful, it's disheartening, it's embarrassing, it's frustrating, all to say the least, because I don't know what the Chargers has to do to get over the hump. I mean, to do something in the playoffs. And to be honest with you, I somebody help me. I can't remember the last time the Chargers has done anything in the playoffs. Even prior to Justin Herbert, what has the Chargers ever done in the playoffs? They really have done nothing. Even when Philip Rivers was on the Chargers, he didn't really do all that in the playoffs. I mean, he won a few playoff games here and there, but nothing to really write home about. I mean, Philip Rivers has been very average in playoff performances. I mean, me and my brother got into a huge argument about that. I don't ever remember Philip Rivers playing great in the playoffs ever. And Philip Rivers has been around way more better teams than Justin Herbert has. And Justin Herbert, that's the that's the player that I really want to talk about. And everybody knows how big of a fan I am of Justin Herbert. My two favorite quarterbacks in the league, Justin Herbert and Caleb Williams. Those are my guys. I love Sam Darnold too, but I love Sam Darnold just because he went to USC. But I'm a fan of Caleb Williams not only because he went to USC, which plays a big part of it, but because also Caleb Williams is a daggone great player. Like he says, I just there was no doubt in my mind that how great Caleb Williams is going to be coming out of USC, and he also given the fact that if I'm going to be completely honest, USC has never been all that is not really known for putting out great quarterbacks. The only great quarterback that I could think of that came out of USC was Carson Palmer. Mark Sanchez was okay, but he wasn't good. He wasn't great, never great at all. But I think Caleb Williams could be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, as a matter of fact, I know Caleb Williams could be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I know that Caleb, and I said it. I said it before Caleb Williams even got drafted. I was like, yo, dog is going to be a top two, top one, top five at best quarterback in the NFL. That I because not only because of his talent in this play, I think it's just his attitude, like his attitude and his confidence in his ability in himself, and just he's not afraid to say what he needs to say, do what he needs to do. Dude is wise beyond his years. Like he is that guy. He has he's obviously has the tangibles. He has the athleticism, he has the skill set, he has the physicality, he has the physical skills, but he also has the freaking intangibles. Like he has it within him. And I've been saying that for years. And people wanted to knock Caleb Williams. People wanted to knock him his rookie year. And I'm like, yo, he's actually getting better his rookie year. I mean, he's actually was getting better week in and week out, even with that terrible piece of crap coach that he had. And now Caleb Williams got Ben Johnson. I said that before. I mean, I said this before. I mean, a quarterback is only limited to what they can really do if they don't have a good play caller. They don't really have a good offensive coordinator. They don't have a good coach. They're going to put the quarterbacks in this terrible situation, terrible position. And this is a team. This is a team sport. It's a complementary sport, and football is about matchups. And football is about situations. It's situational. And I don't care how great of a player you may think you are and how great of a player you may think these players are. It's a team, it's the ultimate team sport. There is no other sport in the world that is as team oriented as football in all phases. You guys may want to think that Josh Allen does everything by himself. He doesn't. Josh Allen, he may not have like star power. They love saying Josh Allen don't have anybody. He does. He has first off, a really great running back, that helps more than anything. A great running back is going to help you. It's going to help you more than a great elite wide receiver. It is. It's going to make things easier for the quarterback, and it's going to take a lot of pressure off the quarterback, and it's going to take a lot of responsibility off the quarterback. The quarterback ain't gonna do so much, and especially if the quarterback is getting his head blown off every single play, you can beat that. You can beat down that pass rush with a great running game. If you got a great running back, that running back is going to take a lot of load off of you. Running backs are very valuable. That's why even when at that time where running back, it was like a time where that era where running backs was looking like they probably were being very not as reliable, or people weren't really too much caring about running backs at that era. I knew that was never going to happen because running backs are way too precious of a gem to quarterbacks. Same for tight ends. If it is so, Josh Allen has both. Josh Allen has two really good tight ends. He has a really great running back, and he has a great offensive line. That that complements Josh Allen. But when they lose, the team is the one to blame. When they win, Josh Allen gets all the credit. So, like I said, the media, they pick and choose who they want to pick. They criticize who they want to criticize. And here's the thing, man. I am going to keep defending Justin Herbert until I can't defend him anymore. Was yesterday a good playoff performance by Justin Herbert? Never. Not in a million years. It wasn't. Was last year a great playoff performance by Justin Herbert? No, not at all. He played okay in the Jacksonville game. Then his play became very stalled and stagnant towards the end of the game in Jacksonville. But here's the thing, like, it sounds like excuses that are being made for Justin Herbert, but when you're actually watching the game and you're looking at the situation, it's not an excuse, it's a reason. It's like what's going on. There's every single play that Justin Herbert thrown. Was it a great throw? No, it wasn't. But I've watched like Justin Herbert. He doesn't make not every throw that he throws are perfect throws. But whatever. But if you all actually watch the games, what throws has any quarterback that has ever played in NFL ever made a great throw every single game, and especially in the playoffs? I've watched Tom Brady. I've been saying Tom Brady was the greatest quarterback of all time since I was watching football in 2004 because I was just a great fan of Tom Brady. I didn't know that too much about football. I was just saying he was the greatest quarterback of all time because I was just a huge fan of him. But I've watched nearly every game that Tom Brady played. I've watched all of his Super Bowls. I watched all of his playoff games. I'm telling you right now, Tom Brady had bad. He had like bad phases. He made bad, questionable throws. It happened. But the fact of the matter is, the difference is that he had great coaches. He had a great offensive coordinator. He always had a good running game behind him. Peyton Manning too. All these quarterbacks had really, really at least solid, reliable running games behind them, or a great tight end, or both, and every now and then probably a great wide receiver. But I can't think of Aaron Rodgers ever having a great wide receiver. I can't think of Tom Brady ever having a great wide receiver outside of Randy Moss. Did Peyton Manning? You can argue, was it Peyton Manning or Marvin Harrison? Was it Peyton Manning or Reggie Wayne? Now you can argue about that stuff. But the fact of the matter is, what I'm trying to say is that these guys, these quarterbacks who are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, who are great quarterbacks, we love to ignore the situation that all of these quarterbacks have. We love to ignore the situational play calling that is favoring these quarterbacks. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was able to do what he did because he has freaking Andy Reid, bro. But people don't really like talking about that. They just all of a sudden they see Super Bowl wins, they see Patrick Mahomes doing his thing, and then all of a sudden it's just Patrick Mahomes. That's it. It stops there. No, like it's a marriage. Like a quarterback needs a great offensive coordinator, and he doesn't even need a great offensive coordinator, just good play calling. Peyton Manning is the only quarterback I can think of in the history of this sport. He is the only quarterback I can think of that they didn't really need an offensive play. They didn't need an offensive play caller. They didn't need an offensive coordinator. That's why you can really argue if Peyton Manning really is the greatest quarterback of all time, because Peyton Manning was that offensive coordinator. He was that offensive coach. Like Peyton Manning can be an offensive coordinator in the league right now if he decides to, and I think he will be dangerous. If Peyton Manning, I feel like if Peyton Manning wants, he could be a stupid dangerous head coach if he ever decided to get into coaching, which I don't think he ever will. I think Peyton Manning's more into the media, but Peyton Manning I don't think, I mean, outside of Tom Brady, I honestly don't think anybody knows the game better than Peyton Manning. If you guys go back and watch Peyton Manning's games, bro, there was never a quarterback that ever like controlled a game like Peyton Manning. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even a Peyton Manning fan, but I grew up watching him play. Peyton Manning was dangerous. He was lethal. And he did the same thing when he went to Denver, you know? So, I mean, the fact what I'm saying so that's Peyton Manning. But what I'm trying to say is that all these quarterbacks, they have the meaningful help when they're playing these games. Justin Herbert has yet to get that. He has yet to get a reliable wide receiver. He has yet to get a reliable tight end. He has yet to get a reliable running game. He has yet to get he has never had a good offensive line ever. But when I get it. They just want him to have one playoff win. I get it. The dude is only in his seventh year. Bro, he's going to get a playoff win sometime in his career. He's never going to go without a playoff win. One of these times, the situation is going to be right, or Justin Herbert is just going to keep getting better, and then he's just going to prevail all the nonsense that's going on, and he's just going to win a playoff game. And if that happens, he more than likely might as well go win a Super Bowl with the terrible situation of the Chargers, which is very likely. The situation in the Chargers may never get bad. It may never get better. And Justin Herbert may just keep evolving as a player, which he should, and which I hope he does, and which I believe he could. But if the Charger situation never gets better, but Justin Herbert just keeps getting better, they'll eventually win. But I don't see how that will ever happen. I don't think that's possible for them to have no running game, because that literally would be a one-man show. And if that happens, Justin Herbert is going to be the greatest quarterback of all time, greatest player of all time. Because I mean, if you go, they keep that receiving core where it's at. They keep that running game where it's at. They keep tight ends game where it's at. They keep the offensive line where it's at. They'll make an ounce of change in offensive line. It's all him. But not even, like I said, not even Josh Allen is doing that. But people love saying it's all Josh Allen. I have never seen any quarterback that's done that. And I'm talking about how great Peyton Manning was, but I'm talking about like with the play calling and all that, and like he was offensive coordinator. But even Peyton Manning, he had reliable weapons around him. He had, like I said, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. Even if Peyton Manning was the one that made them great, but they still showed up and made plays for him. Now, here's the thing: there was a time where I'd say, like, sometimes they don't need to draft a number one. That quarterback is so great, they make that wide receiver better. Now, that's something to look into. We don't really talk that much about it, but if you really think about it, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady's are the only quarterbacks I can think of. Maybe Drew Brees are the only quarterbacks I can think of that actually were the ones who would make a wide receiver better. Like when that wide receiver would go play with them, that wide receiver became better. Like when Jimmy Graham was playing with the Saints, he was great. When he left the Saints, he was terrible. So that is something to look into. That is something to question all these quarterbacks on. And yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe I mean, now that I'm thinking about that, maybe Justin Herbert, he's not as great as I thought he was, compared to those type of quarterbacks. But that's why Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are the GOATs. That's why they are who they are, because they won Super Bowls regardless of who their wide receivers were. But they did always have reliable running games and reliable tight ends, though. They did have that. But the question remains. I mean, a lot of people are frustrated with Justin Herbert. A lot of people are saying he's a choke artist. A lot of people are saying that Jim Harbaugh is not going to be able to win anything with him, yada, yada, yada. But I I refuse to give up on Herbert. I want to say I want to give up. I want to give up on Herbert when it's just obvious that he's just not the guy. And the play calling has always been an issue in his career. Now, here's the thing. Like when I'm talking about Peyton Manning, I'm talking about Tom Brady. Those guys were able to, those guys were field generals, really. And it's something that I really want to look into because when I was playing watching football, like when I was younger or whatever, I'm still young, but when I was watching football, like when like back in the day or whatever, those guys like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and whatever, whoever, and those guys, those type of quarterbacks, they were playing they were calling the plays. Like I was saying, Peyton Manning was an offensive coordinator. It wasn't no offensive coach that it wasn't no coach that was really calling the plays for Manning. It was Manning that was doing it. So I wonder, like, why can't Justin Herbert do that? And if you talk about Justin Herbert, a lot of quarterbacks aren't doing that nowadays. And I wonder, why is that the case? Is it because we have pushed these quarterbacks way too far to play, or and it pushed them until they're like able to really play, like call plays and stuff? I That's something I really want to look deep into. So, but man, here's the thing. I hope Jim Harbaugh gets out of his ways. I hope he changes his stripes and he freaking gets Justin Herbert a reliable offensive play caller. And let's address their elephant in the room. It's obvious that Greg Roman needs to be fired. It was obvious that Greg Roman was a terrible hire when Jim Harbaugh first hired him. The Chargers fan base was never happy with Greg Roman, ever. I was not happy with that hire. That was a terrible hire. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what kind of frustrates me about Jim Harbaugh. I like Jim Harbaugh. I think he's a great coach, but I think he gets delusional. Sometimes he gets way too delusional, and he gets way too loyal, and he gets too loyal where it's actually corrupted, and it's like it's actually hurting than helping, and that's what I don't like about Jim Harbaugh. And that's what was concerning me a little bit when we hired Jim Harbaugh, because Jim Harbaugh made it clear that how loyal he's going to be until the end of times with the people that he hired and the players that he has. I don't like that at all. When you're a coach, and especially a coach in NFL, you got to be real, bro. You got to be honest. If these guys are not are not responding to what you are selling, then they got to go. It's just that simple. Not every single player is going to be a player that's going to develop. That's just the reality of that's the harsh reality of football. And you have to be able to, as a head coach, you're going to have to accept that and understand that. And you're going to have to just be like, okay, no hard feelings, we're moving on. And if Jim Harbaugh is talking about he needs to get Justin Herbert to the Hall of Fame, then bro, what makes you think what makes you think that the team that Justin Herbert currently on is going to be the same team that's going to be able to get him to the Hall of Fame? This is not the reality. If you want to get, this is the ultimate team sport. If you want to get Justin Herbert to the Hall of Fame, that you need to get the guys around him that's going to be able to help support that idea. Plain and simple. Like, why is Bradley Bozeman? He started the entire season. He started the entire season last year. There's should be after last year, man. If Jim Harbaugh is that serious talking about bringing the Super Bowl to this team, Bradley Bozeman should not have. He should have been gone long time ago, 2 years ago. But that's my frustration with Jim Harbaugh. It's obvious that Greg Roman should not be on this team. It's obvious. There is a hot hire out there right now that I think he will be more than happy to come to Los Angeles from Miami to LA. And if you coached in Miami, you like Miami, then I'm pretty sure you will love Los Angeles. Mike McDaniel, he's right there in the market. But that would be the obvious thing for Harbaugh to push for Joe Ortiz to do. But for some reason, I think this staff is so arrogant. And that's one of the things that's frustrating me about the NFL. It's like, I think in order to be a great GM and a great head coach, you got to get out of, you got to stop being so fucking arrogant. Like that is what's frustrating me about the staff of the Chargers right now. I don't know if I hope Jim Harbaugh is not this arrogant and not this foolish and delusional that he's not going to push Greg Roman to make wise decisions to assist Justin Herbert, because your quarterback is suffering right now, bro. And you get on the podium, you make it seem like you're a fan of him, but we're not really seeing the results. Is it really the case? Yes, Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. I think Justin Herbert is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. In my opinion, I think that. But when he retires, that argument is not going to be able to be held at all. It's going to be actually a terrible thing to try to argue about because people are not going to care about what he was able to do on the field, all that other situations. When you're talking about, when you're even the analysts, when you're saying they're going to be debating them, they're going to bring up playoff wins. They're going to bring up Super Bowls. And so far, in his 7th year in the league, Justin Herbert has 0. He's 0-3 in the playoffs, and he has a terrible quarterback rating in the playoffs. And he has I think he has 2 touchdowns in his three games in the playoffs. You're like, you know what I'm saying? So no matter what I feel, no matter what you think, is this not going to be able to hold up? I mean, I think Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, to be honest with you. But you really can't argue it because Dan Marino hasn't won a Super Bowl. But now you got analysts who are actually making playoff wins and Super Bowl appearances a credible thing to have as a quarterback. I never thought that was a big deal. I never thought even going to the Super Bowl was a big deal for a quarterback. Because I mean, when I mean big deal, like as far as using that as a reason why the quarterback should be great or quarterback should be in the Hall of Fame or why he was the top 5 of all time. We were like, did they win the Super Bowl or did they not? That's what the argument was. You know what I'm saying? And so, but now it's like, oh, how many playoff wins he has? They're comparing quarterbacks based on playoff wins. I mean, Joe Burrow is still riding off the Super Bowl run that he went on. Joe Burrow has missed 3 years of playoffs, but for some reason, because Joe Burrow has went to an AFC championship and been to a Super Bowl, they automatically still put Joe Burrow as this elite top 5 quarterback, and he's missed 3 playoff seasons. And that's what I'm saying. Like you fans in the media, you all pick and choose who you want to hype up, who you want to criticize. And you all are very clever what you did. So before the playoffs, everybody was talking about how Josh Allen is going to have a reason and an excuse by him not making it if he doesn't go deep into the playoffs. Everybody was talking about it and giving a reason, pretty much giving an excuse for Josh Allen way before he even played the playoff game yesterday. And that to me is frustrating. It's very lousy. And it's very, very freaking, it's nonsense. It's nonsense because how can you sit here and say Josh Allen is the reason when they win, but when they lose, it's the team's fault. He doesn't have any help. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I had an idiot that was trying to argue with me on Facebook about that. He was telling me that I'm contradicting myself. How in the hell am I contradicting myself by calling out the contradiction? Dummy, that's the whole point. I'm regurgitating the contradictory of the fucking media and you fans. That's the whole point I'm making. Like, I mean, you fans, this make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like, I honestly wonder if any of you all actually watch these games. Not even just study the games, watch the games. And I don't really think you guys do. Or you probably do watch the games, but you just don't know what you're watching. You're just watching it because you think it's fun. Like I actually watched this game like as a former player and as a coach. You know what I'm saying? And as a spectator. And it makes absolutely no sense. Like I said, because when you tie in what actually football is, it's the ultimate team sport. It's about matchups. It's a complementary sport. It's a situational sport. It's all of those things. When you factor all that in, you will know that it makes absolutely no sense. But it's just common sense to say like, oh, Josh Allen's the reason why they won, and they lose. It's automatically the team's fault. But when you watch the games, you know that's not always the reason because I sat there and I watched Josh Allen play bad in those losses. I sat there and I watched it. But and the thing about it, the funny thing about it is that when you say that, if he's the reason why they win, even if that was the case, he'll be bad. He'll be worse. Because if he's the reason why they will win when the team is bad, and he's the reason, there's nobody else the reason why. But then all of a sudden they lose and the team is bad. Why was he not the reason then? So he's a reason sometimes. Because I'm trying to make sense of what you guys are talking about. So because the team is bad, Josh Allen elevates himself over the horrendous efforts of the team. Next week, the team is still bad, but Josh Allen does not elevate himself to the horrendous effort of the team because they don't win. And not only don't win, let's say he doesn't really do anything. Because I don't want to talk about wins because I'm not a winning loss guy. So I'm just talking about he doesn't do anything. So let's say they could still lose. Let's just say he doesn't do anything in the game. So that's a reality because there are times when they lose, Josh Allen, I'm not even gonna say he was bad, but he didn't do absolutely nothing. And there has been games where he has been completely terrible. But it's the team's fault still, though. But what happened to Josh Allen? What happened last week when he was supposed to be Superman? He's elevating the team. So he's Superman sometimes. I call that inconsistency. As Superman was only Superman sometimes when it was needed for him to be Superman, which is in Josh Allen's case, it's every single week. Superman will be a bad superhero. So Josh Allen is an overrated quarterback. So you guys are proving my fucking point. But I digress though. Like I said, I'm gonna say it again. You guys are gonna go out of your way of praising who you want to praise, regardless of the situation, and criticize who you want to criticize. Because I see this. Justin Herbert was pretty much doing the exact same things that Josh Allen was doing all year long. But when you get to the playoffs, it's a whole new season. It's a whole new season. And not only is it a whole new season, I said this in my last video. The season gets extra hard, extra hard. And so with that being said, it is going to be nearly impossible for even a guy like Justin Herbert to overcome that the hardship of the season. It's going to be nearly impossible. And that's the case, man. That's the case is what I'm talking about. So because it's the playoffs, he cannot overcome that. And that's that and see that and so all year I saw when you guys were praising Justin Herbert when he was the reason why the team won. And you guys was praising him because you guys were like, man, Justin Herbert is Superman. There was, and he's a great quarterback, top 5 now. He should be in the MVP race. You guys was praising him when he was winning and when he was the reason why, he made plays for them to win games. Acho was doing it. Acho was praising him. Acho even made some takes about apologizing to Herbert and stuff like that. He even made some clips on his video on his social media about him apologizing to Herbert, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then when the playoffs come, you guys rip the guy apart. But again, I wouldn't be so frustrated if you guys were consistent like this with every quarterback, but you're not. That's what I'm saying. I'm calling out your hypocrisy because if you're saying that Justin Herbert is the reason why Justin Herbert's the reason why he's the reason why the Chargers are playing better. The Chargers are winning games. He brought them all the way to the playoffs. And you see the adversity that he's overcoming. And then you know that how intense and how extra hard the playoffs are. Then I think it will be responsible to take in consideration that, okay, he's not going to be able to overcome this. And see, that was my thing with Josh Allen. Like, I don't think Josh Allen's a bad quarterback. I think he's a really great quarterback. But you guys give that excuse for Josh Allen, but then you destroy Herbert. That's what frustrates me. It doesn't really frustrate me. It wouldn't frustrate me as much if you The same reason why you would destroy Herbert is the same is why you would destroy a guy like Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? When they if they come up win or if they come up short in the playoffs. Every single last one of them do because then none of them has been to a Super Bowl outside of Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow, it's been years since Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl. It's been years since Joe Burrow even been to the playoffs. But even with Joe Burrow, what do you guys do? You guys still want to put Joe Burrow in the top 5 based on him going to a Super Bowl years ago. And not only that, him missing the playoffs, not just he missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. At least Justin Herbert gets his team to the playoffs. At least Justin Herbert does that. When Justin Herbert is healthy, I think he's only missed 1 year in a playoff run. 1 year when he was helped when he actually played and wasn't out. And that was one of the worst head coaches of all time in Brandon Staley. But Justin Herbert, when he starts and he's healthy, he averages at least taking his team to the playoffs. So that's Justin Herbert. He is the tractor. He leads his team to the playoffs. Joe Burrow hasn't done that in 3 years. And what do you guys do? You go out of your way of bringing up excuses for guys like Joe Burrow. And that's what makes me mad. That's why I say guys like Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, well, not even Lamar Jackson, it's overrated. That's why I say that. Again, you guys pick and choose who you want to pick to give excuses for, to praise, to overpraise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like Acho was saying, oh, I wouldn't say Justin Herbert's overrated. He's overpraised. I don't think that makes any sense because who's overpraising Justin Herbert? Who? Who is overpraising Justin Herbert? I've been doing my research. I go on the social media accounts. I go on his YouTube channels. I watch these podcasts and I look at the comments. I look at these analysts. I look at all these shows. Every single one of you losers disrespects Justin Herbert. So who's overpraising him? I want to know who. You guys regurgitate the same stupid ass information over and over and over and over again. I don't see anybody because I see you guys saying the same stuff. Oh, Justin Herbert's overpraised. When are we going to stop saying Justin Herbert's a top 5? If it's like thousands, millions of people saying the same thing, I'm trying to figure out it's a very small percentage of people that is probably countering that logic. So he's not overpraised. And that's what I'm saying. And even like guys like Acho, like I like Acho. I like Emmanuel Acho. I think he actually has good takes. And I used to hate his takes, but I think he really understands the game of football. But for some reason, I think this guy sometimes goes out of his ways to want to like really just like criticize Herbert. And that's that. And I don't like it was like he was just waiting for the playoffs to end for him to ride Herbert. He's like, I wouldn't say Herbert is overrated, but he's overpraised. Well, bro, it's like Herbert is not the problem. Media is the problem. Exactly. That's the point I'm making. Thank you. And you know what I'm saying? Because this is the case I'm making. Yeah. Because I'm just trying to figure out who overpraises him. Like who? Nobody overpraises him. And if you're over here saying he's not overrated, then you should just be silent on your take, Acho. You know, you can say it's fair to say, did he have a bad game? Yes. It's fair to say he had a bad game. Nobody, I don't think even Jim Harbaugh, who is probably one of Justin Herbert's biggest, fans in the world, aside from me, that is saying Justin Herbert had a good game. I don't think Justin Herbert has had a good game since he's been in the playoffs. He hasn't. But to say he's not a top 5 quarterback, to say he is the problem, to say what Skip Bayless loves to say, what does Skip Bayless say? Oh yeah, Jim Harbaugh can't win with Herbert. That's what Skip Bayless said. Skip Bayless said that as long as Harbaugh is in LA, he cannot win with Justin Herbert. That's a stupid statement. I always thought Skip Bayless was an idiot, so it doesn't even matter. But that's a dumb statement because Jim Harbaugh has won with way lesser talented quarterbacks. He's won with Colin Kaepernick, for God's sake. So what makes you think that can't be the case with Herbert? I don't know what it is with the media and Herbert. I don't know why the media hates this guy so much, but it needs to be investigated, like for real. It really does because it discredits your takes. Again, I wouldn't be so upset and frustrated if the media was consistent with every single quarterback. in the league, but you're not. You, like I said, when Josh Allen plays bad, it's the team's fault. I saw in the regular season, Josh Allen got steamrolled. Was it? I think it was the Dolphins or the Jets. I don't think it was the Jets. I think it was the Dolphins. He got this. He was terrible, and that wasn't the only team. Like I've seen Josh Allen play very, very bad games, even prior to Josh Allen's MVP year. When Josh Allen first got into the league, the media was making excuses for how terrible Josh Allen was. It was when Stephon Diggs was there. What was it? Oh, Stephon Diggs is holding Josh Allen back. Stephon Diggs' attitude is the reason why Josh Allen can't get over the hump. Yada, 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 yada. It was excuses after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. That's overpraising a player. And when everybody and their mama is freaking saying the same thing about a player. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody is finding excuses for Josh Allen just to try to praise him. They were already talking about how he should win an MVP way before he even won an MVP. When I'm looking at his years, and I'm like looking at his play, and I'm like, I don't see an MVP caliber in a quarterback. And then Josh Allen should not even have an MVP right now. It should be Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was a way better quarterback than Josh Allen was last year. But again, they want to for some reason they just love the NFL world loves Josh Allen for some reason. And I guarantee you all right now, you can screenshot, you can screen record this video if you can, or whatever. Write this down and come back and attack me. I guarantee you, Josh Allen is not going to the Super Bowl this year. He's not. And not only that, I guarantee you, the media is going to come up with excuses why he didn't go. So now when Justin Herbert's out, Joe Burrow's not in, Patrick Mahomes isn't in, Lamar Jackson isn't in, they're going to come up with excuse why he didn't win, why he didn't go. And he showed against Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I don't think there was a team that was as hot as Jacksonville coming into the playoffs this year. Jacksonville was really hot. Their offense was crazy dangerous. They were Trevor Lawrence throwing 5 touchdowns, everything. And the Bills, they showed up. They got a pick. And I think Trevor Lawrence, he had a pretty bad game. So that's on the Bills defense, but it is a little bit on Trevor Lawrence as well. The point I'm making is that the Bills are showing as a team that they play well as a team, and their defense is not that bad. They have like a top 10 defense. So I'm trying to figure out where is the horrendous play by the Bills defense. And Josh Allen has a great, probably arguably the best running game behind him, and he's arguably the best running back in the entire game. So, where is the lack of help that Josh Allen is getting? I'm trying to figure this out. It's the narrative, it's the false narrative that the media is pushing for this guy. But again, like I was saying, I digress. Go back to my Stephon Diggs thing. When Stephon Diggs was there, it was Stephon Diggs that was holding Josh Allen back. They get rid of Stephon Diggs. Now Josh Allen doesn't have any help. Which one is it? Now Stephon Diggs is with New England. He's actually become a reliable security blanket for Drake May. Stephon Diggs showed up when he needed to show up. But it's whatever, man. It's whatever. So obviously, I was wrong on the Chargers beating the Patriots. It was a great game. There should be no way in I think New England is. I really do like New England. Like before the playoffs happened, I did predict the New England Patriots and the Chicago Bears to go all the way, and the Chicago Bears beating the Patriots. And I did say I was like, if the Chargers were able to hold up Justin Herbert and the defense was able to play consistent, I think the Chargers can go all the way. But that wasn't the case last night. They weren't able to protect Herbert, and the defense was okay for the most part last night. I mean, the Patriots still only put up 16 points. But here's the thing. This is why you guys have to go beyond of just the numbers and the highlights and what's said on paper. You have to actually watch the game. Again, you only going to be able to really understand and talk about the game of football if you watch the game with a critical eye. You got to really study it. You can't just watch it, or you just can't watch highlights and just look at stats and stuff. Now, the defense, it shows that the Chargers only allowed 16 points. But that defense played a lot worse than what was said on paper. They gave up some big plays that actually allowed the Patriots to win that game. And they missed a lot of plays, and they missed a lot of tackles. And so that's, to me, is not a good defensive effort. The defense, I say, was like good for like 70% of the time of that game. They were good. That's it. Now, on the flip side, I like to look at it as on the opposite side, was that team better than you? So the Patriots defense was way better than the Chargers defense because why? New England's defense only allowed 3 points from the Los Angeles Chargers. So if I'm a defensive player and I'm playing for the Chargers, I'm telling my team, I'm like, bro, our offense sucks right now. We can't allow a single point to be scored. Point big, period. We're gonna have to win. If it's 3-3, we're gonna have to if we can just get a field goal off our team, we're gonna have to win 6-3. Or we're gonna have to make if their team can't even get a field goal, we're gonna have to force a turnover and get a turnover touch for a touchdown. That's what we're gonna have to do. That's what, and I don't think that's the discussion that was said around on the Chargers off defensive side. Because it was obvious that the offense wasn't getting anywhere. They were trash. You know what I'm saying? And so and I just didn't see I didn't see any effort, any leadership off the Chargers side of the ball. I just didn't see it, and I blame that on Jim Harbaugh. I blame that on Jim Harbaugh, and then after Jim Harbaugh, I blame that on the captains and the leaders of the team, which is Justin Herbert, Khalil Mack, and Darren James. I didn't see anybody get in anybody's face last night, and that should have happened. I mean, it because my thing is like this. I think it should have happened because it tells me, as a person who watches the game, it tells me that you actually want it more than anything. Like I want to see some emotions. Like I want to see like, yo, we didn't come this far for us to get our asses handed to by New England. New England dominated that game. Here's another thing where I'm saying let's look at the you cannot look at the numbers on paper because that game was not as close as the score showed. New England was by far the better team than the Chargers last night. The Chargers were sleepwalking. The defense, there were times when the defense was just giving up. There was just missing tackles. I mean, what's his name? Henderson and Stevenson. They're two really good backs running all over our team. And I said this before. I said that if the Chargers can stop, I said this. I was kind of afraid. You guys can go back to my last video. I was kind of afraid of the running game by the Patriots because the running game has kind of been the Chargers' issue all year, and it's been their issue, period. Even with Jim Harbaugh being our coach, it's been the issue. And I said this. I was like, yo, you got to be able to stop the running game, especially in the playoffs, and especially against a team like the New England Patriots, because they're not going to rely on Drake May going out there lighting you up. Drake May has two really good running backs and a very reliable tight end that the Chargers should have never got. The Chargers should have never allowed walked out of the building, and Hunter Henry. Look at the result. Hunter Henry got a touchdown. Both of their running backs, they picked up a lot of yardage when it counted, and they picked up first downs when it counted. They didn't have a lot of running yards, but they made key plays when it mattered. Big plays. Same for Drake May. He made big plays down the field. I mean, our defense, this is why I said also our defense was bad. Well, I don't even say bad, but it was average at best. Average at best. It wasn't good. I refuse to say the defense was good. You know why I'm going to refuse to say the defense was good? Because here's the thing. I think it was the third quarter, or was it the fourth quarter? Maybe it was I think it was the fourth quarter that the Chargers, they had a sack. I think Tier's Hart, he had a sack on Drake May. And then we stopped him on the second down. And then I think it was the third down where Drake May, he launched the ball to, God, I think it was number 9. I can't remember. But I'm going to say this. It was third and long, and Drake May converted for a first down. And it was third and long back in their own territory. If you would have stopped that, you could have punted the ball, you could have gave our offense good field position. But what did the Chargers defense allow? It's what they always do every single playoff year that I see it. They'd allowed Drake May to not only convert on that first down, but they allowed the Patriots go all the way down. And I don't think they scored a touchdown. I think they scored a touchdown. I think they at least got 3 points off of that. I think they got at least 3 points. My brother was like, okay, we stopped them. I said, no, we did not stop them. They should not even got 3 points out of that. That was bad defensive play, that whole entire possession. Because we had them stopped in their own territory. They drove the ball. all the way down the field with big plays. Drake May launching big play after big play. And I said this before too, that even when when we played the Chiefs, this was something that I was worried about. Everybody was like, "Oh, the Chargers defense played well, yada 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 yada." Against when we was playing against the Chiefs, but I even said that you guys can go back to my older video when I did my reaction on the Chargers and the Chiefs. I said this. I said that the fact that our secondary gives up a lot of big plays, that's going to scare me, and that's exactly what happened against New England. I've said this quite a few times throughout the season. Nobody was talking about it. None of the Chargers podcasts or analysts, but I'm the only one that was talking about that. I said our secondary, I don't think our secondary is as good as people think it is. I thought Cam Hart, Tarheeb Still, I thought they was going to be able to do their thing. Dante Jackson, he had a pretty good season for us, yada, 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 whatever. But none of those guys are really locked down guys. None of those guys, I don't think they get our secondary gives up too many big plays for me to sit here and give them this credit that we want to give them. I don't know. Like, bro, I'm not going to give you the credit if you give up big plays. If Drake May, not Drake May, if not Drake, what's his name? The good for the Broncos. If Bo Nix, we played the Broncos the first time. If Bo Nix actually was a little bit more accurate than he is, we would have lost the game to the Broncos the first time we played them. But Bo Nix was missing throws. Go back and look at the game against the Broncos. Bo Nix was missing throws to wide open guys. It wasn't our defense that was stopping that. It was Bo Nix. Our record would have been 11-7. And then we would have had to play the Broncos in the second time we played them. But Bo Nix was missing wide open guys. The Chargers got lucky. They came away with a win. Our defense is okay. It's not as good as we think it is. They're too inconsistent. I've said this before. I said it. I was like, yo, if the Chargers defense can be consistent, because when they're rolling, they are rolling. They're one of the best defenses in the league. But when they're not, they're average at best. They're average at best. You know, and so the thing about it is what I said. I was like, if the Chargers can play consistent defense, and if they can keep Justin Herbert upright, we can go all the way. And that wasn't the case last night. It wasn't. Spanos needs to have the talk with Harbaugh and needs to be held accountable. Heads needs to roll or else. Oh, I completely agree. That's what I've been saying all this for the past 47 minutes. Like, I didn't even get to the other game. Like, I mean, the other games that was played with Jacksonville and the Bills. I've kind of talked about Josh Allen and I think I can't remember what the other game was, but yeah, I mean, I'm a Chargers fan, so I'm gonna lead off with talking about, you know, what's going on with LA. But I completely agree with you. Spanos does need to have a talk with Harbaugh, and he needs to step in, because if he cares about this team like he acts like he does, we cannot sit here and allow Harbaugh to be so loyal to his staff, where it's hurting Herbert's career. Because that's what concerns me about Harbaugh, is that he's I love Harbaugh, and I think he's a great coach, but I think he can be stuck in his ways too much. I think he can be so loyal where it becomes corrupted. You know, I said that earlier. Like, bro, if I promise you, if Greg Roman is still the offensive coordinator in the next few, I'll give them to the end of February. I'll give them to after the Super Bowl. No, I don't want to give them after the Super Bowl, because I feel like somebody's going to pick up Mike McDaniel so fast. Greg Roman needs to be fired in the next 48 hours, because I have a feeling somebody is going to snack up Mike McDaniel, and Mike McDaniel is the perfect solution for the struggles of Justin Herbert. There is no more time for us to keep sitting on our hands and hoping a miracle will happen with Herbert. No, like, that's just not a reality. It won't happen with any quarterback. Please give me a quarterback, please. I challenge you all. Give me a quarterback that was able to go out and win playoff games by the least with historically terrible offensive line play, no running game, no reliable tight ends, no reliable wide receivers. And not only that, with a terrible offensive coordinator. I want you all to go and tell me what quarterback was able to overcome that. I can't think of any. But if you, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know more than all of you. But if you can tell me that, please, I'm here to learn. I'm trying to find out who was that, because the quarterback of all time that I say that who I say is, and who we all say is, he definitely didn't have that situation. So if he definitely didn't have that situation, and there was a quarterback that was able to do that, then we need to have another discussion if Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. Because I'm trying to figure out what quarterback was able to overcome all that adversity. That is the situation with Justin Herbert. But the media wants to say, the media wants to crucify the man. That's fine, man. I tell you this though, if Justin Herbert is able to do that, which I don't think he will, and it's not because I'm a believer, I just don't think it's realistic. But if he is, then he definitely is going to be the greatest quarterback of all time. He has to be. He overcame too much. I've even said it like years ago when I first started this channel. How I rate quarterbacks is based on the quarterback's ability to make something out of nothing and the quarterback's ability to overcome any of their adversity. That's how I rate quarterbacks. I don't rate quarterbacks based on wins and losses. I don't rate quarterbacks based on playoff wins, based on Super Bowls, because that takes a team collectively to do that. I look at the tape. I look at what they can do on the field and the responsibility that they have, and if they're able to overcome all of the adversity. That is how we should be rating quarterbacks. Unfortunately, these lousy analysts don't do that. Unfortunately. But I mean, I digress, man. I mean, it really isn't much. I can go on and on and on about this. I'm rambling now about the Chargers, but I want to see the Chargers pick up Mike McDaniel. Maybe this might be a good thing that we lost and how we had a terrible offensive effort, because I guarantee you, like, if we would have at least won a playoff game against New England, it would have saved Greg Roman another year. And I didn't like the hire by Greg Roman at all. I never liked that hire. So maybe this is great. And so, it could probably be a wake-up call for the entire Chargers organization. And Greg Roman, what needs to happen in this offseason is that the first thing that needs to happen is Greg Roman needs to get fired. Bye. He should not have even stepped on that plane last night. If I was the owner, I would have sent him a text message. You're done. You got the money. You can catch a flight back home. You're not flying with the team. That's what I would have done if I was the owner. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. But anyway, Greg Roman needs to be let go. He needs to be fired. And after that, we need to start digging deep. We need to hire Mike McDaniel. Fire Greg Roman, replace him with Mike McDaniel right there. That needs to happen within the next 2 weeks. That needs to happen. Like, make it happen. Joe Ortiz, do your fucking job and do that. Like, for real. And then after that, we need to start looking for offensive linemen for Justin Herbert. We need to start beefing up that offensive line to protect Herbert. And then after that, we need to start looking at a number one true wide receiver. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm sorry, I don't think Lat McConkey is a number one wide receiver. He's not a true number one. He's not. I know the majority of the Chargers fan base loves Lad, yada, 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 whatever. Reality speaking, he's not true number one. Because if he was, he would have been showing up. He didn't show up all year. And I know a lot of that it goes in the blame of Greg Roman, but still, Lad, he's been dropping balls all year, and he just hasn't been getting open. For somebody as shifty and quick as him, and a great rounder as I think he is, he hasn't been getting open. He hasn't been finding space. So Lad ain't it. He's good. I like Lad, but he's not a number one. He's not it. He's not a number one. So Mike McDaniel. If we get Mike McDaniel will bring the best out of Lad, because he's going to put Lad in the perfect situations that fits his playing style. But when I talk about a true number one, I'm talking about somebody like AJ Brown or Tyreek Hill. I don't know if Tyreek Hill still got it, but bring in Tyreek Hill or I'm trying to think. Just like, we're not going to bring in Justin Jefferson, but we can't. It's impossible. But I'm just giving you guys examples of who I'm talking about, like true number ones, like a wide receiver you can fit anywhere. Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, which it's very possible the Chargers can get AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, those guys. You're talking about the guys. Lat McConkey ain't a guy. He's just Lad. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's what needs to be the priority for the Chargers this year. And then after they handle that, and then they need to go out and get some cornerbacks in the draft. draft some more offensive linemen. If draft another offensive lineman or whatever, if they can't get a great offensive lineman in the free agency or whatever in the offseason, get an offensive lineman in the if you because if you can't get one in the what needs to happen is that you always when the draft comes, you always want to pick up the most available player, the best available player. But you know what I'm saying? But the reality is prior to the draft, you want to be able to get guys that's in the market or whatever before the draft comes. So that way you don't have to sit here and be so stressed out or be tempted to draft your needs. I think it's a terrible draft strategy to draft your needs. You don't want to draft your needs. You want to draft guys. You want to draft the best of the best that's coming out of college. That's what you want to do. So address your needs before the draft comes. If you're drafting your needs, you're not doing your job. Those GMs are not doing the job. And most of the GMs aren't doing their job. They really aren't. So Joe Ortiz, be the guy that you make yourself look like you are. Because when we watch Joe Ortiz talk, he makes it seem like he knows what he's doing. He's doing his work. He got it all together. But 2 years has already shown you're not doing a damn thing. The Chargers has came up with 11 wins and 0 playoff wins, and Justin Herbert is still getting crucified by the media. And Justin Herbert has had terrible playoff performances by far. At least Justin Herbert has had a good playoff performance or a better playoff performance when Brandon Staley was the coach. This is Jim Harbaugh's second year in the league. Well, not second year in the league, but second year coach in the Chargers. And Justin Herbert has had the worst playoff performances ever. He's probably had the worst games of his entire career. And that's under Jim Harbaugh. And we thought Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz was going to change that. Your fucking job, Joe Ortiz. Please. And so that's what needs to happen. And then, like I'm saying, and so when we get to the draft, if he does his damn job, going into the draft, we don't have to draft needs. We can draft great. We can draft the guys, and whoever is the best available player on the board, get them. We need some cornerbacks, man. We need some cornerbacks. Tarheem Steele, Cam Hart ain't it. They're not it. They're not it. They're just not it. And so we need some guys. We need some guys that can cover. We really do. Darren James eats up a lot of cap space. Time to think about trading before it's too late. I mean, I love Darren James. I freaking love Darren James. When Darren James was first drafted, I was comparing him to Sean Taylor. But, I mean, look, man, he is eating up a lot of cap space. He is. And we got R.J. Mickens, so maybe R.J. Mickens can replace that. But I would hate to see Darren James go. But I see the argument that you're making. And it's not bad. Time to think about trading before it's too late. I mean, we could get a good trade. Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, I can't argue with you. Stockpile draft picks and row. Fans will not be happy. Oh, well. Yeah. Tyler. Okay. Okay. Tyler, if he hits free agency. So, yeah. So you get what I'm saying. That would be awesome. I mean, it wouldn't be awesome that we had to trade Darren James. But if it comes down to that, I mean, I'll say it like this. If the price is right, if we can get something out of that, then yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I would hate to see Darren James go, though. I really would. But yeah, you're right, man. But anyway, I mean, the other games, I mean, the Bills, they beat the Bills beat the freaking, I mean, I didn't even want to spend too much time on these games, but the Bills beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I did predict the Jaguars beating the Bills, but Trevor Lawrence, he did Trevor Lawrence things. He turned the ball over, you know what I'm saying? And really he threw the ball to some he should have been picked off a lot more in that game. But Josh Allen, I hear him knocking Josh Allen. And I only knock Josh Allen because I see the media I think the media overrates him and doesn't criticize him like they should. But with that being said, he played well. He came through. He beat the Jacksonville Jaguars when Jacksonville was at home. And, he did great. The Bills did great collectively as a team. And then after that, I mean, before that, I think it was the Rams and the Panthers. Yeah, was that Sunday's game or was that? I thought that was Saturday's game. The Rams. No, that was that was yesterday. Hold on. But anyway, the Rams and the Packers. I mean, the Rams and the Panthers. Yeah, the Rams beat the Panthers 34-31. So yeah, that was a Saturday's game. So yeah, I thought there was 3 games yesterday. Was it just the Bills and the Jags and the Chargers? That was another game. But anyway, let me hold on. Let me see. Let me go on info channel. See. Let me see real quick. Oh, hold on. 65-year boat fan here. That's what's up, Oceanside. I'm from San Diego as well. I pretty much I'm from Chula Vista. I grew up around that area, but I moved around a lot though. Let's see. Let's see here. All right. First, want to see what games. Yeah, tonight or in the next 30 minutes, Houston and Pittsburgh is going to play. So I'm going to jump off real quick and watch that game. Then I'll come back on, talk about the recap on that. But I was just trying to see, am I tripping? I thought there was 3 games yesterday. Buffalo, Jacksonville, Chargers. But that game was, I guess it was only 2 games. But that, yeah, the Rams and the Carolina Panthers, I talked about that game already. You know, my boy Caleb Williams did his thing. That was another quarterback that y'all was jumping, that the media was jumping down their throat, Caleb Williams. But you know what I'm saying? But that just proves my point about how it proves my point about how a offensive coordinator and a quarterback is like a marriage. And that's the thing. It's not often where a quarterback is just going crazy without at least a good offensive play caller. You know, it's not often. Like Peyton Manning is the only quarterback that I could think of in history that has went crazy with because Peyton Manning was the offensive coordinator. So if the Chargers can get Mike McDaniel, I promise you all, the media is going to be riding Herbert like no other. Because Mike McDaniel is that guy that's going to be able to unleash the beast in Herbert. And the thing about Herbert is that every year he is getting better. It's just that the fans and the media, they are so toxic. They want these guys and all these quarterbacks. Like I was saying before, it's not fair to these quarterbacks. They're so toxic that it's like they want them to be good right now. They gotta win right now, you know. And if they don't, they're washed. They're overrated. They're overhyped. They're not the guy. They're a buzz. Yada yada yada. Quarterback position is the most complicated position of all of sports. It's the most important position in all of sports. That takes time. That's a lot of responsibility for a 20-year-old to come out of college and to try to figure it out all by himself fast like that. That's why you need a complementable offensive coordinator. Mike McDaniel will serve Herbert like no other. I'd say we need to fire Roman, get Mike McDaniel, bring in AJ Brown if he doesn't come back with the Eagles, and see if we can see if Hill is healthy and if he wants to come. Hill and Mike McDaniel already got history. Mike McDaniel understands how to use Hill, but Hill was that receiver. He gonna get busy in any offense. I think that will be wonderful for Herbert. And here's the thing. Now, if Herbert still keeps coming up short, which he will not, but if he does, then I will say he is the problem. But I'm not going to say he's the problem right now. But I would love to see that. I know I saw that the Ravens were requesting to get Jesse Minter. So we might lose Jesse Minter. We might, but you know, I'm not really afraid of losing Jesse Minter. I'm really not. I think Jesse Minter is a tad bit overrated as a defensive coordinator. I really do. And so I think Jim Harbaugh can be able to hold that defense together or bring somebody in to call a great defense, because the last thing that Jim Harbaugh will ever have is a bad defense. And what we thought that the last thing he will have is a bad running game too, but that ain't the case. But anyway, so I'm not afraid of losing Minter. He can go. Bye. I think he's a little overrated anyway. Like I said, our defense gives up too many big plays sometimes for me to say that Jesse Minter is this defensive guru. No, he's not. He's not. Navarro Bowman for defense. There we go, right there. Problem solved. By Jesse Minter, Navarro Bowman as a defense coordinator. I completely agree with you, bro. I love Bowman. I grew up watching him. He's perfect. Perfect for us. Perfect for us. He knows defense. He has that edge. He has that physicality. Our defense will probably be playing even more physical than ever before with Navarro Bowman. So there we go. You know, so There we go. I mean, I think we can win a Super Bowl if we can bring in Mike because that offense will be unstoppable. And then Marion Hampton will be healthy. Joe Alt will be healthy. Rashawn Slater will be healthy if we can get some offensive line. Bro, and Hill with AJ, come on. It's possible. We have a lot of cap space. What I'm saying right now is all possible right now. Everything is possible. It just depends on how bad Joe Ortiz wants to do his damn job. That's what it's really going to depend on. And that's one of the reasons why, one day, like, I want to be a GM because it really frustrates me when these teams, and I think it's a huge slap in the fan base's face when these teams have GMs who are so arrogant that they act like they know what they're doing. They really don't. And they just don't do the obvious. That's why I really love the Eagles. I think the Eagles and the Chiefs has the best GMs in the entire NFL. The Eagles, especially the Eagles, because you see the Eagles GM, that guy is always working. I mean, he'll be making big trades in the regular season. I mean, he hires who he needs to hire. He drafts who he needs to draft, and he trades when he needs to trade. That's a GM that's doing their job. When you see stuff like that happening, that's why the Eagles are always good. That's why they're always great. They lost yesterday, but that happens. I mean, they're going to come right. They're going to Eagles. Is anybody going to argue with me that the Eagles are not going to at least make a run next year? If you are, you don't watch football very, very often. You don't know football very much because the Eagles, they average. What they do is they will probably they won't show up in the playoffs one year, and then the next year they make a run, or the following year, or 2 years, they probably will lose a playoff game here and there, and then they go and make a run. Has anybody ever taken consideration that the Eagles has always been the team to kind of be the reason why they were in like a dynasty or whatever, or they will beat the team that actually is like the great team in that era? It was New England. What did the Eagles do to Tom Brady and the Patriots with a backup quarterback in Nick Foles? They beat New England, and Nick Foles had arguably one of the best performances by a quarterback in playoff history. That was Nick Foles in Super Bowl history. That was Nick Foles. What did they do against the Chiefs? The Chiefs had the dynasty. Who knocked off the Chiefs? The Eagles. Not only did they knock off the Chiefs, they demolished the Chiefs. The Chiefs are still trying to recover from that. The Eagles is a great franchise, man. That's what the Chargers need to mimic. That's what Joe Ortiz needs to mimic. I think this is Joe Ortiz's first general manager job. He needs to copycat. And I'm saying the Eagles owner, GM, because I can't remember. I don't want to mess his name up. I think his name is like Rosie Osingworth or something like that. I can't remember, but the Eagles have a hell of a GM. Joe Ortiz needs to take some pages out of his notebook. But anyway, the next games are, obviously the next game is tonight. The Steelers and the Texans. I think I predicted I can't remember who I predicted to win this game. Hold on, let me see. Let me look at my sticky notes. Give me a second because I wrote it down. All right, so I predicted. Oh, I was pretty close on the Buffalo and Jacksonville game. I said Jacksonville was going to beat Buffalo 28-24. Buffalo beating 27-24. And then I said the Philly was going to beat San Francisco 26-22. But San Francisco beat Philly. That was the game. That was the third game. It was San Francisco and Philly. I knew it was a third game yesterday. Yeah, it was San Francisco and Philly. Yeah, so San Francisco beat them 23-20 during 2019. And, hey, I got to give credit where credit is due. Before I talk about the next games, the next games for next week, I got to get credit where credit is due. I mean, Brock Purdy, even though he didn't have all that much of a good game, but Brock Purdy, he's winning. He had 2 picks, 2 touchdowns, 18-31. And we got to give credit to Kyle Shanahan, man. He's a hell of a coach. There should be no question that he should win Coach of the Year. Period. Kyle Shanahan should be winning Coach of the Year. I don't know who should get MVP, but Kyle Shanahan should get Coach of the Year. He overcame way too much for him not to. There's not a coach in the NFL that has to overcome as much as Kyle Shanahan and has produced as much as Kyle Shanahan. As far as I'm concerned, I think the 49ers only have 4 losses. And they have had injuries throughout the board. Throughout the board. They lost their anchor of their defense in Fred Warner. And what did the 49ers do? Not only did they get 4 losses, oh, and their quarterback was out for some time for a stretch. I think it was like 8 games. So Kyle Shanahan loses the quarterback of his offense and the quarterback of his defense, and he still manages to only lose 4 games. That's a hell of a coach. That's a hell of a coach. And then not only that, that was just the regular season. It's a whole nother season in post. Postseason is a whole nother season. Everything starts off fresh. So not only does Kyle Shanahan manage to only lose 4 games, but he goes from San Francisco all the way to Philly, and he beats Philadelphia, the defending Super Bowl champs, in their own house. If he doesn't get Coach of the Year, it's a crime. It's a crime. And I'm not even a Kyle Shanahan type of guy. But I am going to give credit where credit is due, and I do recognize greatness. And Kyle Shanahan is a hell of a great coach. Period. Period. I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers go all the way. Now, I'm not picking them to go all the way. I'm picking the Bears to go all the way. But it's not even an argument. Really should be no question. He's got it. It's an argument about who should get MVP, but definitely is not an argument about who should get Coach of the Year. But the next games, let me see the next games. Oh yeah, playoff. I think I should playoff. Yeah, because not player season. No. Let me see. Trying to think because I think they already have the schedule up for who's playing next week. Let me see. I'm gonna go over this real quick, and then I'm gonna jump off and watch the Steelers in the Texans game. That's going to be a brutal game. But I'm trying to figure out I don't know where I have to look it up. Maybe I'll do it tonight. But I have it up. I was trying to see the teams, the next games for next week, but I don't see it on NFL Network where it's at. Let's see. Oh, that ain't it. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Probably can go on the English page and let's see. Yeah, I'll look it up, and I'll just when I come back on tonight, I'll talk about it. I think it'll be fresh to do that anyway. But that way, the first Super Wild Card weekend will be done. So that'll be better, and we'll get a better look of the playoff picture anyway, because it's not fully determined. It's not fully determined anyway, because another game has to be played. So yeah, it will. I think it will be better anyway if I hold off on that. Yeah. So just let me get off that. Yeah. So that's all I got right now. Thank you all for chiming in. I thank you, Tony. Was it Tony Rez? Tony Rees? I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Tony Rees for commenting and interacting. That helps the channel to grow. It really does, and it also helps me give me the more to talk about. I mean, please, man, if y'all disagree with what I'm saying, like if y'all disagree with what I'm saying, I'm open. I'm open to learn. I'm open to hear. But I know the game though. I've been playing the game since I've been 14 years old, and I played. I tried walking on at the University of Alabama as a cornerback. I started off as a wide receiver. I should have stuck as wide receiver. If I was stuck as wide receiver, I at least would have played D1. But I was a late boomer. I mean, basketball was my first sport, and I just wanted to play footballs. But I was really good at wide receiver. But I decided to switch to cornerback, and so I had to relearn the game all over again. So, but if I was to get wide receiver, I think I at least would have went D1. I mean, I wanted to go pro, but that didn't happen. But the point I'm making is that I I've been around the game since I've been 14, playing, not just watching, but like playing, and then got out, then coaching. I even refereed a little bit, and I got friends that's in the league. So yeah. But anyway, y'all keep chiming in, man. Keep interacting. You know, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'm gonna be back tonight, prime time, right after the game. I'm gonna be streaming every night, after the games, prime time. And I'm making it I want to, even in the off season, even like when the games aren't playing, I want to, build a system for myself to be on here every night, at least an hour every night, you know what I'm saying? So I want to start doing that. I don't know when, but I want to really start doing that. And I think the more consistent I am on here, the more the channel will grow too. But hey, if y'all gonna watch the game, watch the game. If you're Steelers fans, I'm gonna let y'all go. Watch the game. If you're Texas fans, y'all watch the game. And we'll be back. We'll talk about the game after the game. All right, thank y'all. Take care. Peace out all day.